Most people generally pick a motherboard based off three things: their budget, the CPU compatibility, and whatever input-output they have on the back panel. So yeah, maybe it's got a USB Type-C, and that's what you want. If it fits your budget, maybe it's on sale, and accepts the CPU you've got, that's typically the part you're going to end up with. But there's a lot of motherboards out there, and sometimes manufacturers come up with some gimmicky features to help move them off the shelf. So that's where this caught my eye. This is the Msi Z97 Gaming 5. And at first glance, it's just another gaming motherboard from the early 2010s. Being that it's a Z97, it accepts Intel Core 4th gen and 5th gen, if those even existed. Meaning, this bad boy is from 2014. But it has all the features you'd come to expect from any current gen motherboard. USB 3.0, an M.2 slot, albeit running at PCI 2.0, and even a postcode display. Not that that's really even a modern feature. What makes this specific motherboard interesting though is the gimmicky feature that they marketed on the box, the USB audio power. So what is this USB audio power magic? Well, let's do a bit of unboxing because for some reason this thing is brand new in box. It's probably the only way that I got the connector special for the USB audio power function. So, brand new in box. The seal, not even broken. Wow, it's brand new. So, like I was saying, it has your pretty standard features: USB 3.0, postcode display, an M.2 running at PCI 2.0, a pretty decent I/O. These very interesting heatsinks. It looks like both of these heatsinks are exactly the same, but they're not. They also have little dragons, little MSI dragons on the end of them. But what I'm interested in is this little audio power connector down here at the bottom. So in the box, you get your SLI connector, your I/O shield, your front panel like connectors that makes it easy to connect your front panel to these and then plug them straight into the board. Sata cables, one's a 90-degree and one's a straight in. You've got your CD for your drivers. I mean, obviously Windows 10 installs all your drivers now, but back then you had to go through and install all your drivers, so it was really nice to have one of these CDs. You got some cable ties that you can label so you know where they go. A door hanger to let people know that you are a leave you alone. I'm gonna put this on my door just because it's hilarious. A quick installation guide, a very thick boy user guide, a sticker for the front of your PC case to let everyone know that you have an MSI part somewhere in there. And last but not least, this fancy little connector that is for your USB audio power. So pretty much all it is a Molex connector and a 3-pin, but only 2 pins are going to it, power connector. So what I'm assuming is it's just taking the 5-volt from the Molex connector and putting that straight to the motherboard. Plugs in there, just like that, plugs right in there. Now, if I acquired a PC and it had this motherboard in there and it had this thing hanging off of the motherboard, I would be extremely confused. That would take a lot of research to try to figure out what the hell this thing is. But thankfully, because this is so new, it tells me exactly what I'm doing. Also, a neat little feature of this motherboard, because the RAM slots are not colored, they have a little label on here telling you which RAM slots to plug in first. So that's pretty cool. So let's get this thing hooked up and see if I can't tell the difference between regular audio and this fancy USB audio power. So let's go ahead and put a system together. The only CPU I have is this Intel i7 4790K. Now you should get subscribed because we're going to be comparing this bad boy to a Ryzen 3 3100, which doesn't seem like a very good comparison until you look at the specs. They're both 4-core 8 threads, so I'm sure it'll be a tight battle. 2 sticks of 8 gigabytes, 1866 DDR3. Yes, this is that old. Obviously, first and third RAM slot because that's what it says on the board. So I'm gonna go ahead and use an Assassin 3 for this. I won't be using it for the 3100 video unless that 3100 somehow pulls a lead. In that case, I'll the lid and overclock this 4790K to try to put that thing in the ground. So it does fit with like a millimeter, not even, like a 1/10 of a millimeter in clearance there. That's pretty funny. And of course, I'm gonna go with the era correct Radeon R9 290X. It's also an MSI card, so it looks perfect on this motherboard. Plug it into a Molex connector, and voila, you magically have better USB audio. So let's find out. So, a pretty modern looking BIOS by even today's standards. It looks like any other MSI BIOS that you get today. Then go ahead and set the XMP and let it rip, I guess. It's very interesting that the BIOS message stays up while Windows is trying to load devices. Oh no. I remember this issue. I guess I'll have to show you guys how to fix this issue in a different video. Alright, so we took care of the Ryzen Master problem. We also filmed a video about fixing that Ryzen Master problem. So, 2 videos for one. So, back to the actual video. So, MSI says that by using it this way, it provides a cleaner 5-volt power to the USB plugs so that you can have better audio quality through something like a DAC. Unfortunately, my DAC is hooked up to the microphone that I'm using to record this video with. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the camera, unplug the mic, plug my DAC into here, and turn up the audio and see if I don't hear a difference. I really doubt I'm going to hear a difference. I think the whole point of this product was to make people see an audio improvement advertisement and think, oh, the audio is better on this motherboard, and that would, in their head, justify buying this motherboard over whatever other motherboard that they were looking at. So, I tried it out. I really can't tell a difference between it. I don't know if my audio equipment isn't a heavy enough load to make it strain, or, and I mean, honestly, it really didn't even get that loud. Like, even when I maxed everything out, it didn't really get that loud. So, again, I'm not really sure what this feature was. And I'm kind of not surprised that we don't see it running around on every motherboard. Again, I think what the ideal here was they would add a feature that could improve performance, and then put it on the box, advertise it online, whatever, and then when people see that, they would think, oh, the audio on this motherboard is better, even just like the standard audio jacks. And it kind of tricked me, because when I was kind of reading up on this, I thought that having this Molex connector, whatever, separated the audio or the power from the main motherboard power, and it improved audio performance on the regular audio jacks that run out of the back of the I/O. In reality, it's literally just a USB audio power, and that's it. You can see it on the I/O. There's a sticker that says, for the improved audio, use these USB slots. And it makes sense. Like, you don't actually power, there's EMI blockers in the actual audio boost system anyway. So I think it's literally just marketing, just like RTX was at first. And it makes sense. Like, if you just put it on a website saying it's got better audio for some random feature, people don't read that far into it. People never read that far into almost anything. And that was their kind of marketing idea. If it could help move 5% more units, or help it get off the shelf, or maybe charge 10% more for it and justify it, that's just what they're gonna do. And we've heard some sketchy things in this past year about MSI, so it's unsurprising that they would market kind of a mediocre technology back in 2014. I'm sure it's not the only weird technology that anybody's ever marketed to try to sell things faster. It's part of the business. So really, that's all I can take away from it. So with that kind of disappointing and unsurprising finish, I want to ask you, leave a message in the comments saying what kind of weird motherboard feature or any PC hardware feature have you seen, and if it made a difference. Join the Discord, let us know there. Get subscribed for whatever random motherboard features that people have come up with in the past. We might get one and test it out here. And like always, guys, we'll see you next time.